Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, UGC Human Resource Development Center, Aurangabad, has organized the online refresher course in Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development in from the 10/1/20 to 24/1/22. And today, myself is the Ayub Mullah, roll number 1. And today, my seminar topic is the causes and effects of the climate change. In content, first study about the definition of the climate change. Then second thing is that causes of the climate change. Then natural causes and human causes, as well as effects of the climate change. So first study about the definition of the climate change. The definition is that it is a change which is attributed directly or indirectly to human activity that alters the composition of the global atmosphere and which is in addition to natural climate variability observed over comparative time periods. So, in that definition, we study about the man-made and the natural changes, how they take place. You see here that in the first slide, that is the causes of the climate change. The first is showing there natural causes. In that, the first cause is the volcanic eruption. You know that there are the different volcanic eruptions are observed in the world, and that eruptions comes through some cracks on the surface of the earth, and the volcanic eruptions are found that. From that volcanic eruptions, there is number of the gases comes out from that volcanoes, and which can directly affect on the climate. So that climate is also get changed. In next slide, ocean currents. You know that in ocean there is a different zones, tidal zones. There is different waves are produced, and that waves can produces the oceanic currents. And due to oceanic currents, there is different gases, different waves are produced all over the sea, all over the ocean also. In next slide, that is the Earth orbital changes. You know that the Earth is elliptical, is in shape, and when the Earth is get tilt, you see here the measuring first is the more tilt. More tilt is equal to warmer summers and colder winter. You see here, this is the shape of the Earth, and when Earth get more tilt, you see here tilting from the axis, from central axis, when the Earth is get more tilt, which can produce the warmer summer and the colder winter. That thing is now going on throughout the world. Nowadays in the world, too much colder and too much summer is seen in the different countries of the world. You see here that next is that less tilt. When the movement or when the surrounding, when the motion of the earth is going on, that time the earth is getting less tilt. If it less tilt, which produces the cooler summer and the milder winter. But that things are in too much earlier. But nowadays this more tilt is being seen. That's why there is the warmer summer and the colder winters will be found in the world. In next slide, you see here solar variations. You see here on the surface of the solar, there are different gases that produces. You see here, this slide shows that there is the solar flares, and these flares are found on the surface of the solar, and from that there is more amount of energy produces, and which can directly affect on the climate change. In next slide, human causes or anthropogenic or man-made causes. You see here, the first cause is the greenhouse effect. Second cause is the deforestation. Third is the coal mining. Fourth is the burning of the fossil fuel. Fifth one is the industrial processes. And sixth one is the agriculture. In next slide, you see here, this is the greenhouse gases. You see here, near about the 64% CO2, that is carbon dioxide, is produced from the greenhouse gases. Second one is the chlorofluorocarbon, which produces near about the 11%. Then nitrous oxide is 6% and methane is 19%. These are different gases that produces from the greenhouse gases and which can also directly affect on the climate change. Next slide, deforestation. You know that the forest is essential for production of the oxygen. The forest can consume the CO2 from the atmosphere and which can convert into the oxygen or O2. That O2 is essential for our respiration. So you see here that if the deforestation takes place, nowadays the number of people can cutting the forest, cutting the plants, and the quantity of the forest is going to be reduced and the CO2 percentage is going to be increases, which can also directly affect on the atmosphere. So that climate is also get changed. In next slide is the coal mining. You see that during the coal mining, when the coal mining process is going on, that time directly the number of gases and the coal, that CO2, CO, we directly produces in the atmosphere and which can also directly affect on the climate change. Next one is the burning of fossil fuel. You see here that burns the fossils and which can also directly produces different gases and which can get mixing in the atmosphere of the world, atmosphere of the earth, and which can also change the climate. Next one is the industrial processes. You know that the man is going to produce the modernization. For that, there is development of the industrial, for development of the industrial, and due to development of industry, number of gases produced from the industry. You know that, you see here, this is one of the mentioning here was chimney. From the chimney, the CO2 is produced. So like this way, a number of gases and the production of the CO2 is more amount in the industry, in the world from the industrial. Next one is the agriculture. You know that in ancient year, agriculture is natural process. Naturally, agriculture is going on, but nowadays the modern agriculture is developed. And due to modern agriculture, in modern agriculture, each and every people has to try to growth of the more amount of the crops. That's why that farmers can using the more amount of the chemicals, more amount of pesticides, then different urea, then different types of the using the chemical fertilizers, which can also directly affect on the climate change. Okay. Next one is the global warming and humans. You see here, from the burning fossil fuel, there are about the 49% production of gases. From agriculture, 13% damages. From 14% by the deforestation, and from the industrial processes, 24% gases are produced in the on the surface of the earth. Next one, next slide. That is yes, effects of the climate change. You see a rise in sea level. The sea level going to be increases, and you see a glaciers are going to be melted, and the ice are when melting. You see here, these are the moving. That one is the moving from the glaciers, from the polar regions towards the inner side of the earth. That when ice is melting, which can moving from a place. So next one, next slide. You see a heavy rainfall across the global. Nowadays, the rainfall is more amount. Then climate is also being changed. It directly affects on the globalization. Sorry, it directly affects on the climate change. Next slide. Extreme drought. Yes, at some places more amount of rainfall is seen, and in more places the drought conditions is seen, which can also, this is the effect of the climate change. In next slide, decline in crop productivity. Yes, in LC period, more production of the crop takes place, but nowadays, due to the climate change, the crop production is going to be decreases. Next slide. Ecosystems are changing. You see here, this is the water ecosystem, this is the terrestrial ecosystem. That ecosystems also get changed due to the change of the climate. And next slide, that is the hurricanes. Due to hurricanes, these different gases are directly exposed, directly released in the atmosphere, which can also get changed. Now, as well as rising temperature. Yes, the temperature of the climate is also to get changed. More amount of the temperature is increases. Yes, and you see here, last slide, the carbon dioxide acidifies sea waters. You see here, due to that, due to the rising in temperature, due to the different gases are processed in the atmosphere, the acid rains also get processed on the earth surface. Thank you.